clients would always not have a budget. If the client comes, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, what's your budget? I don't have a budget. That's always their answer. And then because you want that project, because you want to make the client happy, right, you now underprice. That's the mistake number one. Don't underprice because you want to win a client. Hello, my name is Funto Ibuoye. I'm the CEO at 528 and welcome to the third episode of Design Forward. Today we're discussing the business of interior design, which is a topic I'm really passionate about, and I have with me Damilola, Jimoh, our
Head of Projects at 528.
So Dami, how did you get into interior design?
Can I say good? Okay, but to be more serious, it amazes me anytime I think back and see that I actually studied microbiology in university and, found my way somehow. So when I finished school, it was a case of me staying at home for a few months, and I found out that prior to that, actually, when I was in secondary school, I used to watch a show called Clean House, and it really sparked a lot of interest.
Yeah, I remember Clean House.
It really sparked a lot of interest. So, that was there even while I was studying microbiology. But as soon as I finished, it was as though one fire was, lit up in my heart, and I just, decided to say, okay, how can I go about this? For the first few weeks, I was going about, applying for internships and all of that. But I just thought about it again that I can't just go there and give them nothing. Yes, it's an internship, I'm going there to learn more experience and everything, but at least I should have a background knowledge. So, that was what took me to a design school, and then I got that primary knowledge in interior design, and then I came to 528 as an intern, and the rest they say is history.
I love it. So how many years have you been in this interior design career?
Almost half a decade.
Interesting. Would you like to walk us through, I mean, we're talking about the business of interior design, right? But I would like you to also talk about the career part, the building a profession in interior design. I mean, you joined 528 as an intern, and in 5 years you've grown to become the head of project. So do you want to walk us through, how that journey was or has been for you?
Okay, I like this question because it always makes me really think back as far back as 2021, when I joined 528, and I would always say one thing that is easy to say, oh, I'm passionate about not just interior design, about any other thing really. I have the passion, it's really burning, I want to start this thing now. But when it comes to it, when the going gets tough, really tough, what is your anchor? What really keeps you at the end of the day? So I would say that for me, through the years, from being an intern, junior interior designer, and the list goes on, it would be definitely, I know that this is our generation, we say smart work, but there's the hard work, there's the actual hard work. You have to actually put in the work. I think it's a mix of both. I don't know what percentage it is, but yeah, hard work and also diligence, because you're working with someone, it's not your own business, quote and unquote, you're running with this person's vision, but if you can do that person's own very well, so when you have your own, of course, that will also come to play. So I think that what I would say has helped me along the way is, of course, hard work, diligence, also the people that I got to work with. Because I remember, starting as an intern, I was like, do this thing well. I don't have an idea of what I'm doing. I'm just coming into employment world and all of that, but I got to meet people that really helped me, and they literally groomed me to what I had to do. The list is endless actually, but I'll just say those are the
you started with being really passionate about it, and so in the span of the 5 years you've been building this career, would you say that passion is enough?
Passion is not enough.
Why?
Passion is not. Because I think I would say that because there are days where passion would would fizzle out. I mean, I would use this analogy. I know that it's out of design, but you know how people say that in marriage, you know, the butterflies and all of that, that's what really starts it. You meet one person, like for the people that fall in love, is it love at first sight, you know, and there's all of that.
The butterflies in your belly.
And then the married people, because I'm not married,
Yes.
married yet. I mean, married people would say that at the end of the day, there are situations that will happen and we are not even talking about butterflies. So we can also apply that to interior design and every other career, really. It's, yeah, passion is there. There are some points where you are really excited about this project. You get a new project and you're like, oh, you know, I really love how this project is going to go already. I can see how it's going to play out in my head. But the work, that's really the main thing. So it's not, passion is not enough.
I love it. I love it.
It's not enough, but I would also want to ask you as the CEO of 528, I mean, it's almost 10 years now running this business.
Almost a decade.
Almost a decade, a whole lot.
Yeah.
How was it? First of all, like, what was the inspiration? What made you even start 528? Because I know that you're an accountant by the books.
Yes, literally. In fact, I've forgotten that I'm actually a chartered accountant. I mean, I literally, you know, studied accounting in school, and then I became a chartered accountant right after school. And I remember, I mean, I think I got a really good job because right after my NYC, I did my, I became chartered during my NYC. And right after my NYC, I got my first major job as the financial accountant of a tech firm. And it was a big deal. I had a car and a driver
At the time.
to my role, and I was earning a good amount of money. Right, but after about almost 2 years into the role, I became very dissatisfied. I just started to feel like there had to be much more to me than just, you know, accounting for millions of naira that I was not really seeing in my accounts like that, you know. And I opted to, you know, resign from that role, not even knowing exactly where I was going to do next. In fact, I actually remember that, you know, this was me, I was 22, 23, and I couldn't tell my mom that I was resigning because I didn't chasing you from your father's house. They must really be chasing you because you have a car, you have a driver, you know, you're earning well. Why are you resigning? Exactly, why are you resigning? But I just knew that there had to be something more. So I remember just really lying to my mom that I was taking a 2 weeks leave. And in the middle of that fake 2 weeks leave, you know, I get a LinkedIn message from someone I'd met at an event, and she just said, oh, that she recommended me to, you know, for the role of the PA to the CEO of an interior design firm. And prior to that time, I never knew anything called interior design. Literally, I never heard about it, didn't know it was a thing. So I remember going online to research on Google, you know, check about interior design, check about the company, and then the CEO that I was meant to be a PA. And then I went for the interview. And I remember stepping into the showroom where I was going to have the interview, and I literally was like, wow. That was the first time it was occurring to me that a space could actually be beautiful. Like, okay, there were colors, you know, everything was just beautiful. I'm like, wow. So, like, it had never occurred to me my entire life, my entire 20-something life then that, you know, spaces, I mean, I grew up in a house, of course, but I just never thought about it. I went to school, like, you know, I just never thought about it that, you know, spaces could be designed so beautifully. And I went for the interview and I got the role, and that was my very first experience with, I think that was literally what stirred up the passion for interior design. And then I worked there for a while, and then I changed roles to a national company. And then after 2 years of working, they had to shut down operations in Nigeria, and by this time I was already married. I was married and pregnant with my first child. So here I was, married, pregnant. They had told all of us to go, no job, and I was just sitting at home doing nothing. And I just realized that, oh, okay, I could actually go for a training in interior design. And so I signed up for interior design school. I did, I think it was 6 months of training. Then I got, you know, offered an internship role. I did 3 months of internship. And basically one day I was supervising a project at a site somewhere in Songotedo. And I just literally I just literally took a picture of myself and posted it on Instagram that evening. And I just said, hey, hello everyone, I'm now an interior designer, holla at your girl, or something like that. And that very evening, I got my first 2 clients. And basically, that's how 520 started. And, we've grown and morphed over the years into what we are now. So, yeah. So, if you say what's the inspiration behind starting 528, I don't know if there's any particular inspiration, like you know how some people say when I was growing up I used to like arranging chairs, arranging furniture, I just like they painted my room blue, but I told my mom I wanted to change it to pink. I never had anything like that. So it was nothing. It was at that interview, for that role of PA to the CEO, and just because I was a PA to the CEO, I had to go with her everywhere, so I had insider details and exposure into what really goes on behind the scenes. And I was just really so inspired by that. Yes, so that's really inspiration.
Thank you. So before I go to ask you for the next question, this is your cue. That's just do it. Like I said, on our first project, just posted, and that was it. That started it. So thank you. That was really amazing and inspiring. Well done. So how has it been?
How has it
Especially
been?
the first few years.
The first few years, or let me say the first few months.
Just going into a business just like that.
Literally. So I said that.
95.
Yeah, I said that I posted the post on Instagram, and then I got my first 2 clients. And those projects, there were 2 projects. One was residential and one was corporate, right? And at the time, of course, I didn't have any artisans. I didn't know anybody. So my friend Morenike, who is the CEO of Okantik, shout out to Morenike, right? Literally gave me a list of all our artisans. So I remember, getting the list from her, calling all of them, giving them my vision, my idea, the designs that I wanted to do. But those first 2 projects really showed me basketballs. Because I remember there were several nights I'll call Morenike crying because maybe the furniture guy did not do what he was meant to do. He didn't get the design, or I remember a particular one, the corporate space. The furniture guy delivered the table, right, for the MD, and there were scratches on the table, and the MD was like, no, she cannot take it.
You bring old table like
exactly, like she's like, no, she cannot take this. Clinical. We had to. And this is me, first of all, because those were my first projects. I didn't understand pricing properly. I didn't understand that. So I didn't exactly, put any margins or profits like that, So the thought of having to now look for another money to do another table. I remember crying to Morenike, and it was a lot of basketballs. But over the years, from those projects, of course, I learned my lessons, and then I was able to do better, going forward. And it's been a beautiful journey. Just like when I asked you how your career in interior design has been. Yes, of course, passion, excitement at first, butterflies in the belly, but when the push comes to shove, like you have to roll up your sleeves. I remember there were times where I'll back my baby then to sites, to set up sites. I still saw a picture of myself recently on one of my sites, my earlier sites, where I was backing my baby and sweeping. Right, it's been a journey, but it's nothing that I would trade for anything, because I've really learned a lot. I've really grown, and that's really also helped me personally in how I relate with people. So whether they're artisans, whether they're staff, whether they're clients, just having that robust hands-on experience on being able to relate with different caliber of people, right, and coming to their level. There are some artisans you cannot be speaking grammar, you just have to speak, Mr. Sukura, Egbodo Shetebo. If you have to speak Yoruba, you speak the Yoruba, and then when you're speaking with HNI clients, so just being able to understand exactly those dynamics, right? So yes, it's been an interesting journey, and of course, from starting as a one-woman business, I remember that I still have the pillow somewhere in my office, or the pillow that someone gave me that says Chief Everything Officer. So yes, of course, at the beginning I was the accountant, literally everything, right? But then having to morph into a more structured organization? No, I mean, it's been a journey, a lot of lessons, a lot of growth, a lot of exposure and experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. Yeah.
I love it. Well done. You can clap for our CEO.
So Dami, I mean, as the head of projects at 528, how would you say that, when it comes to working on a project, for instance, how do you ensure collaboration between the design team?
All right. So, I mean, the design team is the core of the business, right? Of course, we have other departments, but design is the core of the business. So, we have quite a number of hands, from the architects to the interior designers to the project managers. So, like you said, for example, if you're to work on a project, right, first things first, obviously get the client's brief, because what exactly are you designing if you're not getting what your client wants? And so I would start with the fact that one thing, or one of our values at 528 is teamwork, and I know that many organizations also have that. It can be like something that is just on paper, right? Team, this is it. Now they'll not put it as they'll put what they call acronyms. T for teamwork, I for I mean. But yeah, I said that to say that it's not just on paper for us. It's actually teamwork. Like we actually do that in practical. So I'll just cite an example. So we're going for a consultation with a client, and we have, depending on the type of project it is, we have the architects there, we have the project manager there, and we probably have the interior designer there as well. So we're getting the brief from the client, we're taking measurements and all of that. So how we now work together to make sure that this client's brief is actually brought to life, and what they are saying and what they are not even saying, what they have in their mind, because there are some times that we have some clients that they know what they want and they can expressly articulate that. But we have sometimes where we have some situations, where the clients, they don't exactly know how to articulate it, or they don't even know. They just say, I just want my space to be beautiful, I just want my space to be nice. So you as whether the architect or the interior designer, you're the professional in this field, so you have captured, you already know what they really want, right? So the essence of having the team is not just to have different people, it's to make sure that different people on that team, the design team, are playing their role to make sure that just one goal, to make sure that the brief of the client is brought to life. So basically we have our architects that do all of the technical drawings, and then pass it on to the project management team. And we don't just pass it on to the project manager. I've finished my work.
You can execute.
I've hands off. I've done my 3D. I've done my floor plans. I've done my elevations and whatnot. So you can execute your project. That's not how it works. Is like I can't really look for an analogy now, but you can't just hands off just because this is the project manager, so just go and execute it. You're the one that, yes, it's a team. When we get back from a consultation, the team sits down and say, okay, this is what the client wants. Person A, what do you think? How can we go about this? And everybody brings in their opinion before that's the ideation process. That, okay, how do you think we can work around this? What's your thoughts on doing XYZ, right? So that's what is the teamwork. And then we now say, okay, because this person is an architect, all right, do the working drawings. But like I said, that's not the end of the person's work. On site, you then say, oh, project manager, this is how we are doing this on the job, not on paper, right? Not on computer.
Yeah, and then just making sure that what's on paper is what
is in real life, because sometimes it's easy to. I always say something that problem solving is in different levels. You can, it's not like they don't. Architects don't experience problems. They actually do when they are doing 3Ds and all of that. All of that they do, but the project execution has
more problems.
Like even
Absolutely.
the one that the problem that you plan, that you
exactly.
envisage that, okay, this might happen, so let me plan this contingency to cover that problem. Before you know it, another problem has just come up, you know. So
literally.
Yeah.
And I love that, you know, you're talking about problem solving. I think
Okay.
that one of the major things about interior design is really problem solving. And, you know, talking about the business of interior design, you know how people just see a lot of interior design companies or a lot of interior designers just post, oh, this is how this space was before and then after. And then people just think, oh, this is, I mean, yes, it's beautiful. It's, exactly. They don't understand that a whole lot goes on. So beyond just the design itself, right, the business of interior design is really at the core problem solving, because first of all, you're solving a problem for a client. Client got a space, they don't know what to do, or maybe they know what to do, but they just don't know how. Right? And that's where we come in as the professionals, right? And that's a problem solved. Then we go to now the architects are trying to design what the client's brief is, right? Basically trying to enter the mind of the client, literally, to bring what they have in their mind to life, right? And then we go from there to execution, like you said, how it's really about solving one problem.
And there's still a phase between, you know, doing the design and the execution. There's of course you have to present what you have done.
Exactly, to the client.
And the client will say, okay, it's looking like this is not really what I want. It's not like you have not gotten to it. You have just not gotten it. Like,
right,
100%.
Yeah.
So you now have to go back and think through, okay, everybody's sitting down, okay, what did we not get right? Can we adjust this? Can we, before we now finalize that and then get it into execution? And execution is a whole lot of
another kettle of fish, basically. You know, and I love that. Just emphasizing the fact that the business of interior design is beyond just before and after pictures. A whole lot goes on, from design thinking to planning to execution. A whole lot goes on. Yeah.
Okay, speaking about the whole lot that you had mentioned, right? When a client reaches out, when a client calls us, you know, what do they actually pay for?
So what do clients actually pay for? All right, I love that question. What do clients actually pay for? I think the number one thing that I'll say is, aside from the fact that yes, you want us to design your space, you're paying us to furnish or design your space, you're actually paying for peace of mind. Yeah. One of the major things, and a lot of times the clients don't understand, because sometimes they say that, is it not just to put furniture, is it not just interior design? No. You're paying for peace of mind, because we are the ones who handle all the problems that come with the project that you don't even have any, you don't even know the half of it, right? That we talk about, you don't even know, because you're not going to, okay, someone delayed in delivering a furniture. That's not the client's business. I'm not going to go and be telling the clients that, oh, I'm sorry, you know, this person. No. Right? We make sure that, so basically project management, right, and coordination, because it just gives you peace of mind, because your own is, as a client, here is my money, I want to come to my space, right? And in the middle of here is my money and I want to come to my space, a whole lot of that goes on that we take on, right? And then you just come to your space and you're just like, wow. You don't know what led to all the wow. So I'll say number one, clients pay for peace of mind. Number two, clients pay for industry expertise and our professional judgment, right? You're not an interior designer. We have trained for it. We have schooled for it. We have, we have years of experience in this field. This is our work. So beyond, okay, this is what I want, the client saying, oh, this is what I want, we are able to bring that to life and even do beyond your expectations, right? So that's one thing that they pay for. I think that the other thing that comes to my mind on what clients actually pay for is I have forgotten the answer. Don't cut it. We'll cut it in the edit. Yes. Okay, I think so. Yes. So, and the final thing that I think that clients actually pay for will be emotional transformation. What that means is, I remember that we did a project, some time ago, and I remember when I was taking the clients on the walk through the site, and the client, just kept saying, oh, I feel so much peace here. I feel so much peace. So that ability to create a space that, you know, especially for clients in Lagos, those who live and work in Lagos, after all the goes of, you know, Lagos, exactly, you get home to a place, a sanctuary that just eases you, that just calms you. So beyond the space reflecting who you are as a person, right, is you come into that place that, you know, all the goes that you've gone through the day, you can just, you know,
leave it.
Exactly, because you're coming to a place that is calming, is welcoming, is peaceful, right? All those things, you don't achieve that by just putting chair and table together. No, there's a thinking that goes into that. There's a, you know, there's a design thinking that we put into that to ensure that in terms of, okay, the color should be, yes, we should use white, but not white. There's a certain shade of white we want to use to achieve this effect. There's a certain type of chair that would, you know, when you sit on it, you're feeling rested, you know, different things, exactly, temperature of light, you know, a whole lot that, you know, the client is not even aware of, but because of it's our work, it's our profession, it's something that we have huge experience and expertise in. We can, you know, create spaces that, you know, set the kind of mood that we want to achieve for the client. So yes, I think those are the three things that readily come to my mind on what the clients actually paid for. So not just putting furniture together and painting a space. No, it's a whole lot of thinking that goes into that.
I love it so much. And you know, just to add to your last point, you know, the core of what we do is to actually elevate how the living experience of,
absolutely,
of people, of the clients that we work with, whether it's your workspace, whether it's your home, you know, because half of the time we are in a building.
All the time, not half of the time. Because
like,
if you look at it, if you leave your house, you're going to another building to work. So, right.
Even if it's a restaurant,
exactly,
it's a gym, you know, you're in a space. So I mean, if we can do our part as interior designers, right, to make sure that that space is not just conducive, but it helps you. It literally helps you in your day-to-day life, that you are sane.
Exactly. I mean, it elevates your standard of living. Yes, that's really what we always aim to achieve. That we're not just designing spaces, you know, putting colors and furniture together, but this space that we are designing, how does it elevate the way people live, work, and play? Yeah.
We're the actual heroes of the world. I said that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Efa. So, I think one question I would, you know, on the back of that, you know, paying what the clients really pay for, right, is because you can actually make. I know that you mentioned that when you started, you didn't even know how to do margins and all of that, because I mean it was your first time. So, what are the mistakes to avoid when you're pricing?
I love it, and I think that's actually a very good question, especially when it comes to talking about the business of interior design. You want to understand what you're pricing and why. You know, like I said, my first two projects, I mean, it was a lot of buzzwords because I didn't understand how to price. But I mean, over almost a decade of building the business, I think that I've come to a hang of it. So mistakes to avoid. Number one mistake is number one mistake is people underpricing because they want to win a client. Right? Clients would always not have a budget. If a client comes, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, what's your budget? I don't have a budget. That's always their answer. And then because you want that project, because you want to make the client happy, right, you now underprice. That's the mistake number one. Don't underprice because you want to win a client, right? Price the price, add tax, and then add your money for Indomie. Right, so no, don't underprice. Of course, you know, with every item there should be certain margin, you know, on each item, for instance, that, you know, and you know, when don't think about it, a lot of times people underprice also because they almost feel like maybe they are cheating the client. But the truth is, beyond the project scope, beyond the budget, or you know what you're doing on that project or for that client, there's so many other overheads. There's communication overheads, there's salaries to pay, there's rent to pay, there's so many other things. Even your creativity, your design thinking, which is actually priceless, right?
Is
Because if you want to start, how much do you want to put, what price tag do you want to put on that, right? So, if you believe that what you're giving is really valuable, which it is, like we had said earlier, like we are not just putting furniture and colors together, we are elevating the way people live, work, and play, right? That's a huge, like you said, we are really the heroes, right?
Yeah.
So you can't, underprice or undercharge, right? When you know that what you're giving is not just changing a space, not just changing how a space is, but changing the life of the users of the space, right? So number one mistake is underpricing because you want to win a client, I think. Number two mistake when it comes to pricing, will be I think just that one comes to mind, really, on the pricing because you want to. I don't know if anyone comes to your mind on the pricing because you want to win it. A lot of time also because you don't understand the value that you're bringing, to the table. I think that's one major mistake when it comes to pricing.
Actually, I agree strongly.
Yeah. I think another one comes to my mind is trying to cut down on standard or quality because you think that the truth of the matter is whatever budget the client says they have, even if they give you a budget, the truth is they have times two of that budget. Because I always say interior design is not Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Interior design is not a basic need,
and it's not the survival.
Exactly, it's not for those that are surviving. It's for those that are in the luxury. They've passed survived. You get it's a luxury. So if you even have the thoughts to say that you want to invite an interior designer, you can afford it. Literally, you can afford it. So don't try to reduce on quality because you're not just, if two things will happen when you reduce quality. One, you're going to affect your own your reputation as either a professional or as a business, right? Because one, you're going to do subpar, you produce subpar or substandard products of furniture, for instance, and then after 6 months or less or 1 year, client is having this chair that you did has broken, the leg has removed. That's, if that keeps happening several times in different projects, people will say, don't use this person or don't use this interior designer because their furniture, their legs are always coming out.
And
that's a bad exactly referrals. And then two, on the side of the client again is that the client will be able to trust you, right? Okay, but you said that you could achieve this with my budget. So, and the thing is, a lot of times clients, they want for using this analogy, they want to buy Rolls Royce, but they say that they have Corolla 2004 budget. No, it does not work. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So, back to the point, interior design is a luxury. So, if you are thinking of even hiring an interior designer, that means you are not surviving. You have left survival mode. You are not thinking of basic needs anymore. You are is now lifestyle, right? So you can afford it. I think those are two major. Okay, so talking about clients, right? Have you ever had to work with a difficult client? Have you ever had a project that just like buzz, right? And how did you navigate that?
Is there any other word for yes? Because of course you're difficult people. Let's even start from there generally. And don't now think that you are not at one point
being a difficult client.
I've experienced different type of clients that are actually difficult. But how to navigate that is, I think that earlier on in my career, of course, just starting out, before then I was probably living in a bubble. And I didn't understand any other person than maybe my family and my friends, right? But now coming to meet different people, working with different people, now specifically clients, right? At the beginning I think a bit emotional about it, right? like, I can't really wrap my head around why this person is acting this way.
Welcome to real life.
But I've grown to just calm down. I think that's it for me. It's not like it's not important to me. It's not maybe their concerns, because sometimes the clients that we refer to as difficult clients, they might be actually right in some cases what they are actually saying. It's just that they are overshooting it, or they are over exaggerating it, and they are just making it a very big issue, making a mountain out of a molehill. But the very first thing is, don't let it get to you.
Don't take it personal.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal at all. Like, don't let it disturb your peace of mind. Just because if you're acting, or if you're taking it from a standpoint of, hey, what will I do now? This client called me now. You won't be able to actually sit down and think through a solution. And we had established earlier that interior design is really about problem solving. So a client is coming to you and is saying, this was supposed to be done 2 days ago. Why is it not still done? Why is it delayed? XYZ. Maybe the communication was an issue or something. First things first, don't try to be defensive. First of all, apologize, because you're on the wrong. And like I said, there are many sides to it. There are sometimes that what the client is saying is like, sir, what are you saying? Like, it just does not cut it. But still, just first of all, acknowledge. That would also calm them down.
Yeah.
So it's from your own calmness, when they can, see that aura that you have, that, oh, you are actually trying to also calm them down. They will actually think, okay, first of all, apologize, that, okay, this was supposed to be done, or XYZ didn't happen and it didn't happen, or something like that. Calm them down first, and then now think of a solution. If at the moment, because there are some problems that you might not have that solution at that point, just tell them, okay, we have noted this and that, and like I said, of course, and don't. I think I saw this on a page. Don't. I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say over apologize, but there's a way to apologize that you are not begging, you are not, hey, please, sir, please, you are not kneeling down and everything, but just apologize, and then, okay, if you can't find the solution right there on the spot, please, I'll get back to you so time, and then you go back and think through. And we had mentioned teamwork earlier. If you need to call, your colleagues, your upline, to ask that, okay, this is the situation. Of course, you must have thought of all the possible solutions by yourself first before going to meet someone else, right? And then you think through it. You maybe ask if you need to ask, right? And say, okay, these are the probable solutions, and then get back to the client and problem solved.
I love it. So basically, understanding that in building a business of interior design, or building a business in interior design, it requires a lot of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Because you definitely come across difficult clients. Right. And like you said, sometimes we might be the one, it might be you as an interior designer who is wrong, or sometimes it might actually be the client that is wrong. Well, either case, way, first things first, just apologize. Okay, I'm so sorry, ma, we're sorry, sir. Just then listen to what the person is saying, and then offer solutions. And if you can't offer any solution at that point in time, let the clients know, okay, we'll get back to you, so on this. Just really, also like what we said earlier, interior design is really about solving problems, and a lot of those problems are people problems, right? So you have to have high emotional intelligence when it comes to building. So it's not just really, again, about, okay, let's just put this chair, let's put this table, let's paint this space white, right?
And that's very, like, I think it's that sort of thing, like you just put the word in my mouth. That emotional intelligence is very important, because like I said before, I think at some point I cried over something that happened with a client. Maybe something happened and I got a query or something, and I cried. I was like, when you finish crying, stand up. Stand up and move on, because they would always come. There's no running, there's no escaping from it, right?
Yeah.
And just to put this out there, emotional intelligence is also, and mental health, management is also one of the courses that we take at 528.
Love it.
So
that is why you are the dean of school.
So we're not just teaching you how to design.
I love it.
Wholesome experience.
So good.
Register for the next course.
Register for the next course. You heard it from the dean. Yeah.
All right. Okay. That being said, still speaking about clients and projects, what type of projects would you say? These projects we're not doing. We're not taking it. So what projects would you say that we should say no to, or would you say, you know what, I don't think this would be worth it? And why should we even say no to a project?
I love
when
we need the money. I love that question. I love that question a lot, because growing and building 528 for almost a decade now, I've really it took me a while actually to come into this understanding, but I finally got there that not all clients are for you.
Yeah.
Not all projects are for you, right? And I remember an incident, so we are going to see this client who was a referral from another client, a project that we did. So she referred her friend that, our friend has a space that she wants us to do as well. So we go see the space, and from the moment I saw the client and stepped into the space, I just knew that this project was going to be problematic, right? I just knew from just interacting, that first interaction with the client. But I'm like, okay, it was this other person that referred her, and we didn't have any issues with this person, so let's just, go ahead. Everything from that consultation day just went blast, because so the client, I remember she was like, she needs to quickly travel, that okay, she's going to send us money right to the account, then when we are done with the invoice we can send her the invoice. If she needs to send more, she'll send more. That's number one mistake. Don't collect nobody's money until a contract has been signed, right? Which is one of the things I learned. In fact, it was that project that made me made us start doing contracts, right? So she sends the money, we eventually send the invoice, we start the project. She wasn't in the country to supervise. I think it was her sister or someone for a family, one of our family members who was supervising, but the person just had a problem with every single thing that we did, literally, and we basically had to refund. She didn't want she didn't want anything, and we had to refund her over 90% of the money paid, right? And so, I knew from the beginning, but I still went ahead, right? Big lesson, right? So, that experience really taught me that not all clients are for us, not all projects are for us, right? So how do we know when a project is not for you? When the client, you always know when a client's value and your value as an organization, it doesn't align, right? When that's the situation, you can let the project go. Or number two, because we've grown through the years, initially we're taking all kinds of projects, all sorts of projects. If you want to just renovate your bedside, we renovate your bedside. So we're taking all sorts of projects, but at the stage that we have grown into, there are just certain projects we just cannot take any. Not because we are being prideful, not because, but it's just what it is, right? So certain projects, like we have a limit to, if the project is not beyond this amount, we just cannot do it. So what we'll do is refer, the clients to another interior design company who can handle, such projects. But yeah, I think just that understanding that you don't have to do all projects, and not all clients are for you. Yeah, thank you. So to bring this, this has been an interesting conversation, right? I've absolutely enjoyed it. And so to wrap it up, Dami, like you said, you've been building your interior design profession, your interior design career for over 5 years now, right? What advice would you give to aspiring interior designers?
Where should I start? Where should I really start from? I think that in one or two ways, I've mentioned some of them. That's really, if you know that you have not built grit, right, and that patience, that I don't want to call it long suffering, but really, if you know that you've not built that, don't you focus that. Passion will not take you anywhere. It won't take you anywhere. It will start it, but it won't sustain it.
So good.
So I think that would
Passion
be the
will
first.
start it, but it won't sustain
So
it.
that would be the first one. Another one that I can think of would be calm down and learn. Don't think that even if you have gone to design school, you are an architect,
in interior design.
calm down and learn. Like, okay, I mean, we all have different stories on how, if you were to ask my other colleagues of how we started interior design, there are some who are actually architects, but they wanted to you focus on the interior design aspect, right? But they didn't come here thinking, oh please, I'm an architect, you can't not exactly talk to me anyhow, but you can't tell me what to do in that sense. There's a difference between paper and real life.
Yeah.
So yes, you have learned on paper. When you come to the real world, calm down and learn the ropes, and just build your experience. I think that another thing would be, I mean, it might not sound professional, but it's very important. Honor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should come and we operate on first name basis here at 528, right? It's not about ma or sa
or mama.
Right? It's just honor will take you places. Whether or not you decide to do interior design, wherever you are, workplace or not, honor will take you places.
So good.
So, as much as skill set is important, character is also important.
More important.
Right? What advice again?
I think you really said we've really.
And if you're willing to learn, I think another lesson would be willingness to learn and grow, because
teachability.
Yes, being teachable, and it's really, because if you don't know something and someone is trying to guide you, like I said when I came in, yes, I went to design school, but I wasn't trained as an architect, and even if I was, I have no experience. So I'm coming to meet people that have the experience. They've been on the job for a while, so they were actually the ones guiding me, right? So, but if I didn't have the willingness to learn, that would be the end of the, because someone is trying to teach you and you're not willing to learn, how would you grow?
So good.
You won't grow. There's no two ways around it. And the caveat, interior design will do what? Stretch you. You would. There's a lot of stretching, and but it's a beautiful journey. Yeah.
Amazing. And so you've heard it from the horse's mouth. We've come to the end of this episode of Design Forward on the business of interior design. I hope that this was an interesting conversation and you were able to pick not one, not two, but so many lessons from both our journeys, as one as a professional and as a business owner. All right, and looking forward to seeing you hopefully at the next episode of Design Forward. Bye.